Bronte, the Artificier. Bronte's affinity for magical artifacts is unsurpassed. In addition to this, his physical prowess is frightening. If you want advice, when you are in the lodge, try to stay away from him if you don't want to go home with a broken head. Ariana, the Apprentice. Hello geeks and gamers, Geek here with another random video. Today I'll be continuing my Mage introduction series with the next Mage in line, Bronte. Bronte is the first large base Mage that I'll be covering. On his normal side of the card, Bronte's hand limit is 8. He has a max health of 11, a movement of 2, and an attack of 2. Flipping Bronte over to his asymmetric side, if you're playing that game mode. His hand is reduced by 2 cards, but his max health is increased by 1, so he's got a full health bar. His movement is dropped down to 1, so it's going to be harder to move him around, but his attack is also increased by 1. So similar to Eliumbra, Bronte becomes a melee powerhouse. So with him you want to get in close and personal and beat opposing mages and evocations with your hammer and other weapons that you get. Bronte is an Artificier, so when used in tandem with the Equipment School of Magic, which is his school of study, you can pull off quite a bit of synergy. Zooming into his special abilities, the first one he has is a square with 2 attack symbols. Instead of one of the 2 standard effects, when using an action token, the mage can attack a model twice with the mage's attack value in the same room. So normally, with your action tokens, you could move 1 space and then activate the room you're in, or you can activate the room you're in and then move a space, or you can attack from the room you're in and activate it, or you can activate the room first and then attack in the same room you're in. When using the first ability, you forego one of those effects with your action token, and instead you can attack one model in his room twice. So by using an action token you can do 6 damage to an opposing model because his attack value is 3. And depending on if you have any equipment or not, that can increase the attack value. So for his second ability, it shows a square with a mage moving and an attack. And similar to the other ability, you need to use an action token for this one. Instead of one of the 2 standard effects, using an action token, the mage can move up to the mage's step value, which in this case is only 1, so you can only move him 1 space, and attack with the mage's attack value, a model in the same room. Of the 2 abilities, I prefer the one where you can attack twice, but with the second ability it makes it a little bit more versatile. If no one's in your room, then obviously you're going to want to move 1 room to attack, but you get 2 action tokens, so in that case, if no one's in your room, you would use an action token to move 1 space and attack them, and then use your other one to do 6 damage to him. And his third ability is to discard a card and move 2 spaces. This ability, as an action, the mage can discard an unactivated spell from their board to move 2 steps instead of 1. So with this one, This explains why his movement is reduced to 1, because this one, you remove a card off your board, so it can be a quick or one of your 3 spells, and that'll allow you to move 2 spaces, which in turn will allow you to do 6 damage. But that's going to cost you one of your precious spells. So with his abilities, it's very versatile to get in there and do melee. I prefer him over Eliumbra, because he does so much more damage. If you're going to get in and do melee, you're going to get in there and do more damage. Eliumbra, for max effect, you have to get in there and work with your Hashimer to do some damage. Or Bronte is just straight up doing 6 damage. Now, take a quick look at his custom spell. Like every mage in Black Rose Wars, there are 3 copies of a mage's custom spell, and these are unique to that mage, so only they can use it. And as you can see, this spell is from the Equipment School of Magic. It's got the bright orange with dark orangish red swirls. And on the straight or light side, Aelna's Anvil. It is a contingency spell. Element type of fire, and the target type is yourself. This side allows you to summon an equipment evocation of your choice under your control from any school in play. This is very handy because there's 2 schools of magic that actually have equipment cards. The first one is obviously the Enchantment School, with 6 different evocations, and then the other one is Myth, which came with the Chrono Box, which has got 4 different unique equipment evocations, so that's a total of 10. And depending on the situation you're in, you can snag whichever one you need. Most of the time, I like to grab one that will augment my attack, depending on the situation. It allows you to brute force your way and knock out other players quicker. It has this dot on the center of the spell, so you would place 1 instability in the room that you cast the spell from. Reverse or dark side of Aelna's Anvil. It is a contingency spell, element type of fire, and a model up to 2 spaces away. Remove target equipment, summon that equipment under your control. This is a very situational spell effect, because this requires an opponent to actually have an equipment. But it is very handy when they do, and it's a piece of equipment that you want, that'll help you out a lot more. So this allows you to take priority and steal it from them, because he's the artificer. That effect is similar to Dukas, who has priority over the broom. Or in this case, Bronte gets priority over any equipment he chooses, whether it be from enchantment, myth, or any of the Rebirth schools that have equipment in them. Here he is, the big guy himself. He's got his big mighty hammer slung over his shoulder. He's wearing a smithing apron. Obviously he's an artificer. And there he's got his smithing hammer in that hand. On his belt he's got all his tools. Turning him around to the back. Just better look at his hammer. His smithing glove. What, is it a smithing glove? And then he's got a unique pauldron on his shoulder. And then there's the axe. And the backside of his smithing apron. As what's unique about him is all these items he has equipped on him are actually going to be equipment in the enchantment school. So the hammers and the axe and stuff like that. And on his belt here, you can see he's got a sword. And as a quick size comparison, as always, we'll use Skulltor, who is in Paint Purgatory, as a size comparison. So they're about on par, except that he's got a large base and Skulltor's got a medium-sized base. Here they are next to another large base piece. This one is also in Paint Purgatory. Work in progress. This is the infamy of Crete. And here he is next to a small piece. This is the Dancing Blades, which is an evocation from the enchantment school. Final thoughts on Bronte. I give him a 9 out of 10, just for aesthetic purposes. I like that he's a smith, artificier, and he is very chonky with his stats. He's not going to gain you any forgotten spells, but he gets right in there personal in attacks, and he does a lot of damage. And his unique spell allows him to take priority over equipment, so it's very, very versatile. So mages with a lot of versatility and aesthetic are pretty cool. As always, the normal YouTube stuff: like, subscribe, comment, click that bell icon. Until the next video, this is Geek, signing out.